Hi, everyone. This is Maria coming to you with the second season of our podcast, The Incorrigible Woman. Today, I'm here to talk to you a little bit about sex, specifically about libido or lack thereof. So, this is a topic, topic of mine that tends to make me mad or frustrated because so often there's this expectation put on women to well, first, the expectation is that we're not going to have a libido. And that puts a lot of pressure on women to think like, oh, well, things are going to go downhill. I'm getting older and I'm never going to have sex again, which might be true and it might not be true, but we have this feeling that it's like imminent doom. And I also get upset about the idea of media or movies saying like, oh, women are frigid. I mean, that's a kind of an old school term, but frigid or cold, and that we're not interested. Um, and also then about my dog is here, of course, scratching at me. She doesn't want me to talk about libido. Um, so there's also an idea with doctors, natural doctors, and allopathic medicine that having a low libido as a woman as you near menopause and beyond um, is normal because it's a hormonal issue. It's a hormonal issue. It either has to do with low estrogen or low testosterone, making up us not being interested. But honestly, more often than not, in fact, usually, it doesn't actually have anything to do with the hormones and the difference of, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone. Um, Most often, as is true with um, men's sexual dysfunction, it often has to do with a more emotional, mental aspect of the whole situation. So not only, well, let's just touch on the first part. Not only are people, but women specifically, exhausted, stressed, overworked, not taking time for ourselves, not taking time to understand our bodies, not taking time to rest. That's part of it because I think we all know that as women, at least, I can't speak to men, but I can't speak for men, but um, as women, if you're really tired, one of the last things on your mind is um, having sex. If you're exhausted and you feel like you can't even get through your day without 5 coffees, you're sure as hell not going to want to have sex when you get home. So that's one main reason. And the issue with menopause is that one of the things that happens is that we often have some insomnia. So that could be a menopausal issue, sort of, in the sense of if you're having night sweats or hot flashes in the evening and you're not sleeping well, or you're waking up a lot for various reasons, you'll be more tired during the day in addition to the exhaustion that we put on ourselves. But there's a lot of sorry, I'm laughing because my giant dog is drinking water as she loves to do during my podcast nearly every single time. Um, so there's a lot of emotional issues that could be going on that will make you not that interested in sex. One is just regular sort of lack of self confidence, which I generally find talking to women in their later 40s or older, not always, but often. Um, Women actually tend to get more self confidence because we're more used to our body, we're more used to what we like, we're more used to saying um, what we want, but not always. No, so if you have a lack of confidence, you might not be interested in sexual activity. Um, and this feeling of safety. So, feeling safe in your body, both with just in your own body, how you feel about yourself, that comes in with self confidence too. But also, if anything has occurred in your life to make you feel unsafe with a partner, and that could be maybe something from your childhood or history of sexual trauma, or it doesn't always have to be of a sexual nature. But for instance, if you don't feel safe with your partner, you don't feel safe to have hard conversations, you don't feel safe to say what you want, you don't feel safe to say no, I'm not in the mood today, or your partner would get mad or upset. Um, those actually issues kind of backfire. So they usually backfire in the sense of if you say no once and someone is mad at you about it, you're more likely to want to say no again, actually, instead of encouraging you to want to do that more. Um, there's things like body image issues, especially as we get older, maybe feeling like your body is changing. So, whether you have a partner for a long time and they've seen your body change, or whether it's a new person, which maybe is even scarier, um, just, you know, as we get older, our bodies change. You might feel different. And that could be sort of detrimental to how good you feel and how often you want to have sex, or if you want to turn all the lights off, which is also totally fine. Um, and then talking about happiness and relationship satisfaction. So, this is something that now I don't like to, I know I talk about smashing the patriarchy, but I really don't like to um, sort of say bad things about men, but we are different. So, there was a comedian that used to say, if a man um, is mad, and I've heard other people say this, but like if a man is mad at you, they can, or you're having a problem in the relationship, men can usually have sex in order to make the relationship situation a little better. Whereas women usually, this is generalization, of course, you might feel differently, but women generally need to resolve the conflict or the issue in the relationship in order to feel like you're in the mood to do anything sexual. So it's just a little difference in the way we operate. The cosmic joke, as my friend calls it, of if you're in a heterosexual relationship, and this podcast isn't just about heterosexual relationships. It could be for any type of relationship um, where you're being intimate. So yeah, it's just like a difference in the way we operate and the way we look at the world. So, but really thinking about relationship satisfaction. So whether you're in a new relationship or one for many years, um, sometimes people say like, oh, when you've been with someone for a really long time, you're not interested in them anymore. And that's just like biology. But is it that, which maybe it is, or is it something like you don't feel like your partner listens to you? Maybe during the day, maybe things that don't have anything to do with sex, but maybe you don't feel heard, you don't feel listened to. Maybe there's part of your relationship where you don't feel like your partner is very compassionate to your needs or how you feel. Um, maybe you feel disconnected. Maybe you feel like you don't go on dates anymore, or you never did, maybe, or you feel like you're not doing things in common, or you're not spending enough time together, quality time. And this isn't necessarily, unless you need this in your relationship or want this isn't necessarily about romancing someone with roses and candlelight, but when, especially women, like I said, I can only speak for women in general because I'm not a man. And I'd love to hear a man's perspective. If any men are on here and they want to even message me privately, I'd be happy to hear. But I feel like most people tend to lose their libido activity, call it, when you feel disconnected. So feeling like you're not spending enough time together, you're not seeing eye to eye in things, you're not enjoying life in the same way together as you used to, maybe. And all of these things can actually lower libido. So I bring all of these things up, not to depress you, but to say that these things can, if you and your partner are willing, can have a solution that doesn't involve necessarily hormonal treatments or feeling like the end is near and now that's it. You're dried up, you're frigid, and you never want to do anything again. And I mean, this is leaving it open to some women who do choose that that's not something they care about anymore. And either if you're single or if you have a partner that is okay with that, then more power to you, if that's what you've chosen. But if that's not what you want to actively choose and you'd like to bring more romance into your life in this way, there are ways to come back from this. And if the person that you're with is the person that you want to stay with, you can have conversations, or you can try and have conversations about reconnecting, about discussing um, all types of things in the bedroom and not, that are important to you, that you want to express. And I feel like the biggest barrier to intimacy is often some sort of closed communication. So either the partner's not listening to each other or the partner is not expressing how they feel. So it's not always one person not listening. If you're not expressing what you need, then the other person can't know what you need necessarily, especially men. I feel like we think as women that men can read our minds, and they usually can't. And they shouldn't. They shouldn't have to, so we should be adult enough to express all of our feelings, and this can be bring connection and intimacy into just your the speaking part of your relationship, and also the more intimate parts of your relationship. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Not trying to get anyone to run out and get a divorce, please, unless that's what you want to do. um, and yeah, I'd love to talk more about this and other topics. And I look forward to seeing you next week. I believe I'll be having an interview as the podcast next week. So I will keep you posted on that. Thank you so much.